I'm Carla Mardell, and this is Jo Fiddy, and we are going live because we are two EFT and other tapping modality practitioners that are doing our thing and bringing glitter to the lives of women. So welcome, Jo. I'm excited to have you. I really am, because it's an exciting time to talk about how we use EFT and how it's really enhanced our lives and how we're using it to enhance the lives of others as well. So today is Jo's birthday.
It is. And what a great time. Thank you just so much for having me. I thought that we could just hang out together and talk about EFT live on Substack. And it's my birthday. It's just for me, because obviously what the time zones here. So for me, it's kind of coming up to 12 o'clock. So to have a lovely lunchtime break with you and talking about EFT and the glitter is just the best. So thank you so much for having me. It's a project that's really close to my heart, real passion project talking about EFT because it's just so fantastic.
It has changed lives. It changed my life completely. Yes. It's changed my clients' lives as well. It's been the start point for a lot of things. There's been a time where, I was explaining to you before, where I kind of forgot about it. And then I brought it back out for a big thing that happened for me. And it just cleared the path completely. And I haven't put it down since. I retrained a couple of times and I did this. And it was just incredible. It's for, when life is throwing you challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge, it's really easy to think one way about it, isn't it? And then it just helps to really take that away. So for me, I know it's been really useful in changing my stress story, my time story. And Jo, I know for you that you work with women as well, and that it changes their stories as well that they run.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with women kind of from the beginning of perimenopause and going through the menopause journey. And so I really kind of help them change their lives and really support themselves in this journey, because so much can come up from our belief system, a feeling that we're becoming invisible, through to taking care of ourselves and symptoms as well. So I help women on that journey. And it's such a pivotal time, isn't it? Menopause. It really, really is. And it's a moment when I believe the best years are in front of us, but it's just working on that belief system in order to get there.
Well, we're so much wiser when we hit it. Like that's amazing. Yeah. But then our body's undergoing so much change so quickly. And often it's coming at you at a time when you're very busy with children and life and career and other things as well. And so it is a real balancing act. Whereas, when we went back to our early 20s, when we went back to our late teens, we didn't have all this other stuff kind of like coming at us as well, and trying to balance career and trying to balance that and trying to balance this and income and, being a partner and bits and pieces. And so EFT is just wonderful because it allows you to move into acceptance sometimes of things that are feeling a little bit stuck. And when you accept it, I just think when you accept what's down here, you're able to access so much more of what's here. And I think that's the difference of using EFT in a way. Yes, it can be healing, but yes, it can really help to bring that glitter to life as well. And that's the key thing, right? Is that it's been used for healing for quite a long time, but it's actually useful for getting to the glow, for offloading.
Definitely. And do you know what? I love what you were saying, like that moment when you're just rushing and you're rushing through life and there's so much to do. We talk about motherhood and using EFT there. And Dr. Libby Weaver actually calls it the rushing women syndrome. And
yes.
Constantly on the go, constantly running. And what happens is, why I also love EFT, is that it works on cortisol. So with Dr. Libby Weaver, to work constantly rushing, our cortisol is getting higher and higher and higher. And it's a bit like we're babying cortisol, and we kind of get used to it, to be on edge. Even when we do relax, you always find, especially as us mums, we can reach for our phone. There's no shame in that, to catch up on the WhatsApp chats, which there are millions of. Send all our memes to all of our friends and all of that stuff. But what happens with that pinging, it's constantly going, spiking our cortisol. Then you hit kind of like that perimenopause, menopause, and we're more sensitive to cortisol. And then EFT comes in. And this is where it kind of blows my mind, I know with you too, is it can actually reduce cortisol by 43%. And just imagine what that does for your hormones. Because what they found now, because they're finally investing in women's health and we're finding out more, is that when cortisol is elevated and goes up, estrogen goes down, once we have estrogen receptors in the brain, and therefore our menopause and perimenopause experience can be kind of more challenging for us. So finding these really fantastic ways to reduce stress in a short time, I think, is an absolute kind of a golden nugget. That's the glitter, isn't it? That you can then just have that moment. I think, especially as a mum, when you're running around constantly and you just need a minute. I think we've all had those experiences,
It's
right?
so
Just
good.
give me a minute. I could barricade the door.
Well, even those layers, like, cooking dinner. Every single woman that I just about speak to says, "Oh, don't ruin my day and ask me what's for dinner."
Yeah.
And so I filmed an EFT tap for dinner, right? Just for the frustration of dinner. And it's hilarious because I actually had to film it 4 times because someone was next door and they were grinding with a grinder. By the time I got to the fourth film, I was laughing because it was so funny that the guy was making and, you could be really disturbed by that because filming something 4 times is really quite annoying. But I think because I was EFT tapping on making dinner and also on the annoyingness of him grinding as well that I was feeling in my body, because when you bring that energy into your body, that's when you can edit it, right? So I had some of that mix of the grinder in there. But I went off and I cooked dinner and I was quite happy. And then 2 weeks later, and this is the subtlety of EFT as well, my little guy says, "Mummy, you're cooking really delicious meals at the moment." And I thought about it. And for 2 weeks, I cooked some really different things. I was back into cookbooks. I was trying some new things. I was doing all this different stuff. And I was definitely more Nigella than Cruella. And I didn't even realize this. Like, my husband had
Yeah.
said that night, "I'll cook dinner." And I'm like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I attribute it to the tap that I did. Now, what I've found is that often these taps will last and they're great, but for things that come up all the time, like road rage, I've tapped on road rage, right?
Yeah.
I find that because that is like, people, you're actively in fear. I find I need to go in and I need to tap on that every few months or so that I'm not having that bubble up. But with the cooking, we're going on, I think, 3 months and it's holding fine. I'm in the kitchen. Tonight I tried something else. And this is the power of having EFT in your fingertips or any tapping tool in your fingertips is you can just help to edit your system and really take the edge off things so that, it's not a constant push that builds up to frustration, which is really cool.
Definitely. Because I think also they call it the people's therapy, don't they, for a reason. And I think once you learn it, you realize that you can use it. And I love the fact that you say you're using it for cooking, because there are those moments, because we're all completely human, those stress markers where you feel yourself start to bubble. And I always go back to the perimenopause one because I'm in it, but I've also got the small children. So I've got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I'm not sure if anyone can ever, when it's bath and bedtime, you're like, okay. And that's when I think yours is cooking, mine's bath and bedtime, when you're like, okay, we're about to climb Mount Everest here. I can do this. I can do this. We can do this. And I do the butterfly tap. You just do the butterfly tap here. And it's just simple butterfly tap. And I just breathe in and out. And I just tell myself, I'm willing. It's going to be great. We've got this. Or just taking a moment without talking and just to breathe, and it just simmers you down, doesn't it? Because we are all human and life is really, really busy, and tapping can come in and put that buffer, that calmness in that we need in a really busy world.
Yeah, my specialty is the ranty tap.
I love it. Tell me what you do. Tell me what you do.
To have a good sweary tap, and to have a ranty tap because that really works it through, and it just takes you down if you're feeling that frustration and that kind of stuff. And like you, Jo, I have a teaching background actually, where I taught small children for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And you were talking before about the cortisol and the cortisol just slowly like inching up. And I think it's like that. It's like they say there's a frog in a pot, right? And you slowly turn up the temperature and it doesn't realize and it doesn't jump out. And I think that's like what happens sometimes around our age as well is that the stress has been turned up over the course of, a decade or so, and we haven't realized. And then it suddenly hits a point where we have some kind of symptoms show up in our body. And I know for me, that was lipedema that's showing up, and I've put a really lovely pause on that. And I think it's down to tapping daily, just like, what is it here? Keeping myself really, calm, the cortisol not spiking. And also, EFTs allowed me to access different food and to stop food cravings and things like that, and to cut through motivation issues that I'm having to move because I'm moving every day and it's hot and it's sweaty and I might not want to because we live in a tropical country. And, just the whole thing of having that kit there is great to cut through that, but then to move into being able to do what I want, to be able to really emotionally direct myself where I want to go, which is just like you at bedtime. This is going to be great. And then you show up differently and you're more of the person that you actually want to be. And because you show up differently, people respond to you differently as well. So, it's really fabulous when you have got children, when you have got a partner, when you are going into the workplace to use and to pull out and to spread that glitter because you show up differently everywhere else as well.
Definitely. And children especially, they pick up on your energy. I find it's like you kind of command the room based on your energy. And I feel that when you come in more like grounded, has such an impact on your children, especially. And they also love it. Like I think my children tap with me. They really love tapping. And I think the more they see mummy do it, like in a ridiculously fun way, in a lovely way, but they're like, oh, this looks amazing, and they're kind of like tapping. My 3-year-old's like tapping on her eyeballs, they're all trying to tapping. But they're realizing there's kind of a tool that they can use. And my daughter's just started school. Her big store, she's coming out, and I saw her going, and she's, little taps on her chest, deep breaths. And you hope that the younger generation will have these skills because we didn't have those skills whatsoever. And I feel like, our generation, like many, we're learning on the job of how to take care of our mental health, how to take care of ourselves, especially in a hormonal time or in a really busy time.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah, totally, totally, totally. And just with all the research that's out, you can see that this is something that works as well. Because when I started 20 years ago, it was very, very woo-woo.
Oh, yeah.
And now with the research coming out, there's actually papers on, I didn't share this with you, there's
Yeah.
papers on using it for motherhood rage, on papers on using it for menopause, on papers on using it for sleep when mothers have newborn babies as well. And it doesn't make them sleep anymore, but it just makes them feel different about their journey, really, in motherhood, about the way that they might be using their time and bits and pieces like that. But the menopause ones were very, very fascinating, the way that they just calmed down the system and they calmed down the stories that people had collected that made them maybe anticipate that it wasn't going to be something enjoyable or that they were going to have issues. And as we were talking before, what you think is really important to what happens in your life. And I've spoken about this before on my podcast as well. It's important to cut through those stories and that noise. And I know you've got a different tapping modality as well that you've learned that is really big on that as well, the rapid tapping.
Yeah, I definitely what I so I was so that kind of the clinical EFT, very traditional EFT from 8 years ago, and I've been practicing now with NLP. And then I wanted to do something a little bit different, more innovative for me personally. And I love Poppy Delbridge. I've been following her for a long time. I love her book, Tapping In. And I was incredibly lucky to be trained by her this year in the rapid tapping technique. And that is kind of somatic. It is tapping, but it's more of a mood booster. So with EFT, we're looking at reducing the intensity of the feeling. While with rapid tapping, we're looking at dialing up the frequency in the mood. If you think of a frequency like a radio station, what are you tuning into? Are you at Vibe FM and kind of going there, or are you going a bit down here. And so it's more of a wellness mood booster, which I love using with clients. And it kind of goes in and it can really help you with how you're feeling in yourself. Absolutely. And raise your mood and kind of clear the language you talk about, talk that you're saying about
Yes.
the situation. So give an example, what I just find, you talked about menopause earlier, is that the language we use to discuss menopause, I hear so many times, it's coming for me. There's no way around it. I can't escape it. And when you hear that, how does that make you instantly, right? Because the language that we use, if you think about your brain and how it works, that's going to send off the alarm. The alarm,
Yeah, totally.
being hunted down. And so then when you think about perimenopause and menopause in that way, you're going to instantly feel anxious. So what else can you do to reframe that is working with rapid tapping or EFT tapping to help reframe how you feel about the experience. And I have to say, I use it every day, and it's like it's my birthday today. I'm 45 today, and I am so excited to be here. To be 45, it's like, yes, I'm here, and let's go. Let's go. I'm so ready for the next chapter. Well, if I hadn't used EFT, if I hadn't worked on my mindset, I might be feeling a bit differently about today. So it makes such a difference, as you say.
I'm exactly the same. I'm 47. I turn 48 this year, and I feel the same way about things. And there's so much opening up all over the place, and it's really amazing. And I feel my body is speaking to me, but I feel with EFT, I'm able to accept the things that that maybe were a little bit trickier to accept, and just access more of who I want to be, where I want to go, my goal, um, and really evict the stuff that takes up the mind space. Really, it's like, hey, you're not paying any rent, and off you go, and it allows you really to do some very fun things. Like, it's allowed me to think in different ways, which has made me take different actions, which has given me completely different outcomes in my life, and taken me on adventures and allowed me to do things that I probably wouldn't have done had I not been able to tap to reduce the sensation that I had, to change generational patterns as well. That's quite big. And I'm not talking about sitting in healing pits of misery, because I'm not big on that. But I just, life is fun. Fun is so important for our existence, because it creates lots of chemicals. It increases our creativity. It increases our productivity. It also helps to really lower our anxiety. But when we've got those looping thoughts and those stories, we're not able to access that fun. And so that's what I love EFT for. It's a very effective tool. It's fast. It's super effective. And there's a few tricks. Like, I always say with EFT, look, you can use it yourself, and it's like taking an exercise program to the gym. You can do the exercises, right? You can have a group EFT tap, and that's like going to a group exercise class. It's really balanced. They work everything, and maybe they do things that you might not want to do. Um, then if you tap one-to-one with a practitioner, especially with the NLP layer as well, which we've got, that is like working with a personal trainer. And I don't know about you, but whenever I work with a personal trainer, I can always tell for like the next couple of weeks, because it's always doing something that I wouldn't necessarily do myself, or they've got different set of eyes on it, and they're able to just extend me. So that's how I kind of liken it as well. So knowing how to tap is great every day. And then this extra work is just, let's go in and let's tweak and let's work on extra things. So that's useful. I don't know where I was going with that, actually. But anyway,
I'm in the gym. I love the gym. I love the gym metaphor, because also, if you think about it, it's also the after effect, which I just adore what you were saying. So it's kind of, if you go to the gym, work with a personal trainer, or you go into a group program, but you don't just get the benefits then on the moment, which you do, but actually you feel it 2 days later or 3 days later. And that's kind of the glitter of EFT and tapping, is that you feel the effects later. And for some, if you do go into the blocks that you've been holding for so long, that can be fantastic, where you kind of, if you have a fear or you have some anxiety, and then you work with a practitioner one-on-one, they can really get to the core of that. So I had a huge fear of driving, huge. I didn't drive for 20 years. Like, for 20 years, I didn't drive. And and now I mean, it took work. It took work to do. But now I'm driving on the other side of the road in Munich, and I'm driving, and I'm doing it. And there's no way I would have done that before. I mean, 20-year fear, it was massive, and now I'm there driving.
That's amazing.
Mm.
That's amazing. I have used it when I've been rock climbing with my
Yeah,
son.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, I'm not climbing that. That's just insane. And then I've done tapping, and I still do my finger points as well. And then up I go. It's just incredible. And I've been on boats as well in Thailand, and it's been a little bit rough, and we've had to land and jump out, like, and get to shore while the boat gets in, just in case it capsized. And I've
yeah.
used it then as well. And it's really been a
Mm.
beneficial tool, as well as the first aid kit, like, just to help me to do the more fun things that there are on this planet to do, and that I will continue to do as well. Um, and yeah, collapsing a lot of different things. Now, we know about the stress, we know about the limiting stories, we know about the using it to energize as well. Is there anything else that you've used EFT with that is beneficial or useful for other people that might be looking at EFT, or how you've used EFT, like advantages to it over other modalities? Because I know that you're also an energy um, practitioner, and so am I. I can Reiki and yoga and bits like that. But is there anything else that you've used it for that's been useful, or using it in a way, maybe shared benefit tapping?
Yeah. I run the Tapping Reset community, and we come together and we get borrowed benefits from that, where we all tap together on
Yeah.
the feeling of perimenopause, or we tap on a symptom that we're experiencing, definitely brain fog. I find that's really one that can knock confidence in women. And actually, we was talking earlier about Dr. Peter Stapleton, and she recently brought out a book this year about tapping and memory.
Yes.
And evidence about how tapping can help your memory, your hippocampus in
Yes.
your brain. It just blows your mind, the science behind it. So definitely in that capacity, I love using it. I also, what I really love, because I come from, obviously I'm energy, but I also do I'm a menopause coach. And I find that there's so much that we're told to do. I think we've all listened to the podcast, we've all bought the books, lifting the weights, have the nutrition, do all of that. But actually, sometimes you just don't do the thing. So you buy the weighted vest, but it's just living in a box in the corner. Or you buy the books, but you don't read them. And it's like we have these like little imps, these little invisible blocks that kind of come around and stop you from doing the thing. And then they make you feel like you're failing, but you're not. It's all in the subconscious. And I love EFT because it helps you put you first and do the thing you want to do. So it's putting on that weighted vest. It's kind of putting yourself first and kind of busting through those invisible blocks that can get in the way.
Yes, the self-worth kind of
Yeah.
issues. Like, you might start tapping when you work with a practitioner. I know I've worked with clients, and we've started tapping on something, and it's been this. And then the further we get down, it comes down to this worth issue that then subtly interacts and moves into other parts of their life. And they'll message me 6 months later, and they'll say, I didn't know, but this has actually changed from what I think we did back here. And because it's related, and I just don't do this anymore. And that's quite amazing when that happens. And of course, I've done circles as well with things like chakra and color meditations as well. And it's online, and everyone has been, my fingers are just tingling, and everyone has just been really elevated by it, and energized by it as well. But we tend to have, all our fingers are going, or sometimes in group chat, someone will say something and it'll be hilarious. And then it becomes this hilarious laughter release of things. And uh, it's just not sitting in misery. It can be really fun and does so much at the same time as well. So I think we really really tap, tap, tap. And like everything, it's useful to have the tool yourself. And like you said about the books, and like you said about the weight and fit vest that sits in the box, it's useful to have communities where we come together. It's useful to have events that we show up to. So sometimes we stick with a plan, not with the mood, and we come in and we do those things in those groups, which is useful because not all the time will we do it ourselves. But if something's there, then we show up for it. Do you find that that is true for many women as well that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's like having that toolkit, and I also work with Munich which is helping international English speakers in Munich come together during the menopause transition, and just giving them the tools so they can help themselves. And yeah, it's so important to have the tools so you can support yourself and bring it out like a magic box, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, I've lived an expat life as well
Mm.
overseas. So I know that culturally, there's enough, some with the motorbike outside, if you can hear it. Um, not only the whole street, but everyone else as well. Um, that's great around the globe. Anyway, I know as an expat, there's so much going on as well that the woman will be bringing in that will be subtly worked on as well as the menopause. And that's it, is that you think that it might just be this, but there's other little things that happen every single time we tap. And like you said, it's measured in our cortisol and bits and pieces that we're not even aware of,
Yeah.
which is just amazing. So yeah, that is tapping a glitter fest
Ah,
for life, for everyone's life, really.
yeah,
It makes things more lighter, more brighter. It allows you to access different things, to show up differently. And when we do, it really gives us the ability to experience life differently, I think, which is key.
definitely. It gives you freedom. It just gives you freedom. I
Yeah.
think we are so in our heads and we believe so much of what's inside of us. And it actually
Yeah.
gives you freedom to get that step closer to your authentic self.
Yes.
Definitely.
With the energy, and it's totally somatic because you're tapping on your body and bringing the energy down. I probably should say, what really surprised me is that I spent a little bit of my life, the beginning of my life, in pharmacy, like working in pharmacy. And what I learned is that modern medicine, they actually, because they studied it on people that weren't alive, they didn't have the energy flowing through. And so our modern medicine comes from studying humans that don't have energy. And so energy is really void in our allopathic medicine that we follow. Yeah.
Because
So
everything is energy.
I know.
Mind
So
blow.
so isn't that mind blowing? So it is void in our medical way of going about the world. And here we are with things like EFT and other modalities as well. We're starting to see a lot more energy modalities coming through and starting to become like the fourth wave of therapy. And Peter Stapleton calls it that. She calls it the energy psychology that's coming through now because we're realizing that we're more than just a meat pack and a brain. We can
Absolutely.
So it's really great. So yeah, there we are. We're amplifying the world. We're spreading the glitter. We're giving you the glitter, and we're inviting you to come and join us, to follow us. And Jo, I'm not too sure. Do you have any online events as well that
Yeah,
you offer?
I do. So I do. So I have my tapping reset online, and you can join for a 1 week free trial. So there's a 3 week trial on Substack. You have access to my entire library of taps. I keep them short because I know that we're really busy. So no more than kind of like in between 15-20 minutes. There's some chats in between on a specific subject. And I also work online one-on-one with my coaching. So that's all. Everything I do is online. I think it's just the best way to stay connected with everybody. And the world. So it's, yeah, that's me definitely. But the
Yeah,
tapping
yeah.
resets, do come along. I'd love to see you, Carla. Come in and have a tap with me.
I
I go
will.
live. I
If it's
return
right.
on Thursday after the summer break. So Thursday is the live, and if you register, you get the replay if the time zones don't work.
Great. Well, yeah. Well, if it's midday, I'm 8 o'clock, so it works really well. And I've got the same. I've got some YouTube taps, which are there. They're generic. The way that I do my taps always allows you to personalize it because you have to have a little bit of your own input in there with the way that I with the way that I structure them. And then on Substack, I'm going to be doing more live taps. I'll do a regular circle as well, because it's nice to have that space held for you. And that's why, like, I'm like, yes, I will come to that. Because to have space held for you sometimes, it's like that personal trainer, right? And it just gives you a little bit of a work in a way that you might not work yourself. So that's great. So I'll come to that. And then I also work online as well with my one-to-ones and with my bits and pieces. And I have some times during the day, usually around midday, because then I find that women in my time zone, which is different to your time zone, I'm Australian, they're around. And then I also have a couple of nights where I work, because I know that for women that are on the other side, they can access me there. Or for women in my time zone, I know that often it's after the children go to bed that's there. So we both do things in similar ways, but it's nice to have someone else that's doing something similar that I can join and be facilitated for, and have that nourishing kind of time and that self-care time for me where I don't have to think about it. It's so good. It's just great.
So good. It's so good. And it's just been such a joy. Thank you. Like I say, it's my
Thank
birthday
you.
today, and I thought I'm going to start my birthday here. Absolutely. So it's just been such a.
There we go.
Thank you for having me.
Doing something new on your birthday, your first live. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yes, we will catch you, and I'm going to look out for your live and come on to that on your tap. So yeah, lovely to have you on. We'll
Thank you so
put
much.
this out there in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thanks, Jo.
Thank you.